Whatever I was doing at IHOP, as I was in IHOP about to enjoy my pancakes, they was like, nope, get up, hit this red eye. We need you going in 2 hours. I was like, all right. So then, like you're saying, the next gig, how I need to be aware and ready for that is Omar Benson told me that. And that's when I was doing HBO Ballers. I remember I was doing one Hollywood film.
Good dude, though.
Yeah, he's a great dude. That's my dude. Like I like him, man. That is my boy. You know what I mean? I love hanging with him. He's super cool. We enjoy ourselves whenever we're around each other. So basically, I told him the experience I had. Like I was supposed to do something on what show was it? I think it was Barbershop. I was a part of Barbershop, but I was supposed to have a bigger role on Barbershop. Except I didn't go to the screen tests or chemistry read. Now I didn't think I had to because I never had to go to from any other one thing. And when I give my word to a project, I'm not trying to leave the project for anything. That's just the way I am. But I needed to go to a chemistry read for it. Didn't go to it. I didn't really have an idea of how important it was because I killed my audition. Normally when I kill an audition, the part is mine. So, but that wasn't the case. I needed to go meet with Ice Cube. I needed to be down there. I didn't go. So I didn't get this role that I was a shoe-in for. So I told him about it. He said, yo, bro, like, I don't care. If you already got one project, you're going to have to make that project wait and go get whatever it is the next one. Because when they done with you in that period of time, they done with you. You might not even be able to reach these people anymore. You understand? So you got to go get it. I learned that from him. So I had this other thing that was going on with Ballers. They wanted me to be back on Ballers. So my agent was concerned about that. I said, bro, you better not tell them nothing about this Ballers. Let's get this Wu-Tang. And when these joints go through, we going to dip from one to another. I sleep and I'm dead. We not doing none of that. I said, don't tell one what the left hand with right hand doing. Let them cats work it out. Basically, that's what they end up doing. So basically, whenever I finished filming Wu-Tang, I was in the car to go to Ballers. When I finished Ballers, I was in the car, go back to Wu-Tang. That's what was going on I had to keep doing that because you have to really take your opportunities seriously. You can honestly lose opportunities trying to be professional. You know what I mean? And that's literally because this industry is not like this is not like a regular job. So the one thing that people do wrong when they go to auditions, they come in with the spirit of a regular job. Hi, my name is Tom. I'm a team player and I definitely think I can add to your experience and hopefully we get to work. That is boring. That doesn't make a mark. No one wants to hear that crap. No one cares about Tom. So now they're like, yo, I'm not working with Tom. Tom boring as hell. This movie got to be live. I can't use Tom. So usually when I come into an audition, I look at when I used to go in person. If I got to be around you in person, it was a wrap because you're going to tell me what I need to do, not without you knowing it to get this role. So I remember I went and did this role for Marlon Campbell, and this is Tyler Perry's cousin. So went down to this thing. I was supposed to play a football player. This movie was never made, and I was supposed to get a ton of money for it. So I'm kind of sad about it, but it never was made. So I go down there, and I come there. He was like, "Yo, man, I wasn't prepared for you to come here today. We don't even have a script for you." I said, "Well, what do I need a script for?" He's like, what you mean? Brother, I don't have your lines. I don't have your script. We got other people's script. We ain't got yours. I said, so? Dude's supposed to be dyslexic. He a football player. Let's get it. You know what I mean? Like, so he's like, you want to do it without no script? I said, hell yeah. So basically, he just fed me another person's type of line, and I just said whatever came to my mind. Now, when he shows me the script, because eventually after I'm done auditioning, somebody brings it. He said, yo, look at this right here. Showed it to me. He said, everything you said is exactly what's in the script. So this cat went screaming through the building like, yo, this is how you audition. This cat, Robert Crayton, this is how you handle your business. Y'all cats ain't gonna get the role. So the other dude, this other guy shows up like, yeah, I was supposed to do that role. He said, man, look at you and look at him. Do you look like Robert Crayton? This is the size you need to be. You know what he did in there? He did it with no script. You think you do it with no script? No, you can't. And like really, it was embarrassing what he was saying, but he was just excited that somebody came with enough like bravado about themselves to go ahead without the script. Because most people will be like, nah, I'll wait for the script. I'll do it next time. None of that. I just go for what I know in everything. You know what I mean? And how you can convey that you don't want to be put in a box is you got to give them elements that you can never be placed in a box. And a lot of times it I cause other actors when I'm next to them to really mess up. You know what I mean? Because I make the thing mine. To me, acting and performing is more like rapping to me than it is probably acting. Because most people go about it as they try to become what they think people want them to see. But acting is more in truth than that. You know what I mean? It's not about what you become. It's about who are you in this situation. Your mother just got killed and murdered for somebody. What would you do? I would snap. That's my personality. So I'm going to become that. I'm not gonna try to become the guy who plots out and he sits and he's sad and he's mad at the same time and all this stuff that's outside of yourself is internal, how you respond. You know what I mean? So I really just really try to think cognitively that the concept is this: Denzel Washington, me and yourself. What's the difference between us and him? There really is no difference other than he had the opportunity to become Denzel Washington and he maximized it. So what I think of myself is this.
We get another Denzel, and I always think number one is that like we shouldn't be looking for another Denzel. Denzel is Denzel. He's done
Yes.
what he's done. You
Yes.
got your lane, and you got to figure out how if you can take inspiration from Denzel
You're right.
and what he's done in his career, great. But there's never going to be another Denzel. There's never going to be another Morgan.
It's not. Exactly.
There's always
Exactly.
going to be one you, and that's the problem. Is that like when people are constantly trying to compare and use that as a comparison where like it's like the business doesn't move forward, like it stays stifled, and you gotta put your own stamp, because you know what, people think in this business you got a lifetime to make
You don't. You do
don't.
not. You got a shelf life. You definitely don't.
You have a shelf life, and especially in the sense number one, where like for example, I see
Yes, man.
so many actors, that have. This is where like for example, it's always a big myth that people who are not in the business don't seem to understand. Where they're like, if an actor, is on a really, really, really great show, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been on that show for like 7 years. So let's just say, for example, let's take Julia White. Steve
Mm-hmm.
Urkel, Family Matters.
Mm-hmm.
He was on that show from a kid, grew up, became an older, in the sense, number one guy, still looks the same.
Yeah.
But people think, okay, well, after you've been on a show that's that successful, when the show's done, all these offers are going to be waiting for you because you've been on the
And
show.
it's not.
And people don't understand. It's like the industry, once you've been on something for so long, and people know you as that character,
You're that character.
you're that character, and they want you to go away. Like they literally
Yeah.
want you to go away for a few years.
You're right. And
And
reinvent yourself.
and if you don't come back, especially in the sense in the industry of a reinventation, either come back with a whole different look,
You're right.
or a whole different build,
You're
or
right.
a whole different, in a sense, approach to the roles that you're going to take, they're
Mm-hmm.
automatically always going to see you in that role you played as a kid. And that's why
You're right.
Julia White has never really done shit.
You're right. You're right.
Like, for example,
Another character like that is Screech.
exactly.
Same thing.
And even, for example, like my mentor and friend, Kiefer Sutherland, legitimately one of the biggest actors in the world.
You're right.
There was a time when after, like, for example, when Kiefer shot Lost Boys, which is a classic icon film, and he had all of these offers at the time as a young actor, Stand By Me, and all these different roles.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he started dating Julia Roberts, and he was all, because Julia was on the come up. Julia, had just done Pretty Woman and was starting to become that it girl.
You're right.
And it became for him, more or less of like, I remember he had been doing all of these amazing roles, but because the spotlight at that time was on Julia, he was just like Julia's man. Nobody cared about all the iconic stuff that he had done.
You're right.
He ended up, quitting Hollywood, and he left Hollywood, and he picked up his shit, and he went to Calgary for like 4 years, got a ranch, and started doing
You're right.
And then, because he knew, okay, I've got to go away.
You're right.
And he was at that point where he was done with Hollywood. But then, fast forward, 24, this opportunity for this show that I mean, doesn't matter what he's done. That role changed his life.
It did.
In so many ways, because you know what? It was a show that was at a time that was needed after 9/11.
You're right.
And that plateaued him, but then he did that show for 8 seasons and was recognized around the world as Jack Bauer, iconic fucking character. And
Definitely was.
then people thought, okay, when 24 ended, he was going to get all these roles, and he did. He ended 24, and he jumped into a show called Touch.
Mm-hmm.
And Touch only lasted 1 season.
Mm-hmm.
Great show, but when you've been playing this badass, kick-ass,
You're right.
federal agent, kicking down doors and beating people up and torturing people,
You're right.
suddenly putting on a sweater and
You're
playing
right.
like this dad type of role.
You're right.
People ain't want to hear that shit because
They don't even want to see you like that.
Shit, you were like everyone was hyped for the show. Touch, oh my god, keep her. But all the audience was expecting
Was more 24.
Was 24. They were expecting this Jack Bauer character.
You're right.
And the show went down after a year, and he took off. He did the same thing. He had to go back into obscurity again. And then Designated Survivor came along. And then same thing. Designated Survivor, he was now playing the President of the United States.
You're right.
But there was always scenes where people were like, they were waiting. They were waiting for this Jack Bauer to explode.
You're right.
And it's just like, and he said in interviews, it's like, look, he's like, I love the character of Jack Bauer, but he was like, you got to remember, he's like, I'm an old man. Like, he's 50 something.
You're right.
He's like, they don't want to see. He's like, the things I could do when I was like, back when the show started.
You're right.
I don't got that physicality anymore. It's not like
You're right.
Because he's a badass motherfucker. But it's
You're right.
He's looking at the realistic aspect of storytelling. And that's
You're right.
with audiences and stuff like that, where they don't get it's like, you have to evolve in this business.
You're right.
As a performer, you have to be not just thinking about the next project, but thinking about in the sense number one of like, okay, I may be liked by this casting director, and I may be what they're looking for, and you can come in there and you could nail it. But are you what the producers are looking for? Are you what the director? Because remember, people think, okay, the casting director has the final decision.
Right.
All the casting director is doing is allowing you the opportunity for them to have material to give.
You're right.
To then take to the producer, then take to the director, and then they have to sort of sit in the meeting and decide, okay, who we putting to drive forward this story. And as you said, like, for example, there's times where you've been on a set where you said that, you have overpowered the actor that they were looking for. And I was something with number one is that, like, that can be a deterrent for yourself in the sense career-wise.
Yes.
You have to know your own principle of, like, if you don't get that role because you were overpowering,
you're right.
Can you live with that? Like,
yes.
Can you live with that to say, okay, you know what? Like,
that's the reason why.
I'm to change who I am. Because
you're right.
There are times, for example, where, you've got to play that game, to navigate. And there are some actors and some people, number one, who have stayed in one way, and it may have taken them a longer process. But eventually, number one, somebody says, okay, you know what? You are what we're looking for because you have stayed authentic. So, I've always said, like, there's not really a wrong way and a bad way in the sense of staying true to your convictions. The only wrong way for people that have the mentality, especially now due to social media stars and influencers, per se, whatever you want to use as that term, that's robbing the industry of jobs and people and talent anymore, is that the only mistake you can make is not being prepared on all levels. Like, if you just come in saying, okay, like I know, for example, like actors are like, I'm only an actor. I'm like, well, then you're going to have a fucking really short career. You're right, because it's not going to be only acting needed. You're right. You're going to be very short. you got to be able to bring something to the table. And